I kind of got nervous the last time I reviewed a book like this, and as this one came up, I was starting to get nervous again too. I read The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz in 2019. It actually has a subtitle, which I didn't know, and maybe it'll be relevant, maybe it won't, but it says A Practical Guide to Personal Freedom. I gave it 2 out of 5 stars, and I wrote this about it after reading. I had a bit of a weird reaction to this book. In general, I think it's a bit bland and basic, not unlike the realm of the Celestine Prophecy or the Alchemist. The agreements themselves seem not particularly profound, but very important. I don't recommend the book. I didn't really like it, but it feels like the lessons are something that should be reinforced at multiple times over the course of a life. Plus, they feel important for me now in that way too. I'm super thankful that the book drifted into my life right now. And I may even refer to it annoyingly here and there. The tone is preachy and has a lot of strangely intimate references to the author / narrator, who is amorphous at best for first-time readers of this material. The thing that made me uncomfortable specifically was his repeated pushing about, if it worked for me, it can work for anyone. I kept thinking when I read lines like this, I don't know you. That's not a powerful argument. And this is the type of problem that plagued me throughout reading it. Now, of course, Ruiz would deconstruct my opinion as in service to the judge, which is one of the concepts that he talked about here, and probably the victim too. And I wouldn't fight that. The best part of what he's created here is a highlight of some fundamental tenets to live a simply enjoyable life. I didn't enjoy the execution, but it was good to be reminded of the messages. So when I talk about this book, I get nervous about it because I bring up in the review, I talk about The Alchemist too. And there are so many people that love this book. There's so many people that love The Alchemist. I brought up the Celestine Prophecy. Another one that's kind of in this vein is The Secret. And there are devotees of these self-help style narratives out in the world. The Alchemist and the Celestine Prophecy each have a bit of a story that's telling a parable about ways to live. Four Agreements isn't exactly like that. It's more like a dialogue, and I actually haven't read The Secret, but they all kind of go into this same category for me. Pop, self-help, really. And I don't really like this category. I've tried it. I feel like when there is a big group of people who are in support of a book like this, that I want to try it, that I want to believe that the things that they are teaching are going to be profound for me too. And while, just like I mentioned in this review, while I do understand the value of the fundamental rules that these things are teaching, some of the things in the Celestine Prophecy I still kind of hold on to this day. The manifestations of the Alchemist, I think those things are important, but I just don't like the way they're executed here. I have a quote board. I have a quote board that I kind of like populate with quotes at all different times. And I have a message on my quote board it comes from a YouTube video that was talking about the difference between the Lord of the Rings movies and the Lord of the Rings TV shows that have come out after it. And it was talking about the difference in storytelling from them. And the quote that I love here, that I apply to my life, and I think I'm applying to this concept of the kinds of books that I like in the lessons that I learn. The quote is, "The direct path is almost never the best one." And I love that. I don't think it's the same for everyone. I think this is a preference of mine, but it's the way that I would apply it to a book like this. Each of the four agreements are extremely valuable and extremely fundamental. They're talking about being impeccable with your word. That's the one that I remember the most. I definitely think that's an important thing. And I love how it's reinforced in something simple like this. But when it comes to the execution of how it's delivered here, it feels, like I mentioned in the review, very preachy and rudimentary. Ideally, I would like a book to be a little bit more artful in the way it delivers its messages and its lessons. It's the way I read fiction. It's the way I look at all books. I'm actually going deeply on the subject matter of all these books, to my detriment in some cases, for books that are meant to be just entertainments. I tend to want to seek out meaning or lessons in each of them when it is something that is on the nose, very straightforward in the way that it's teaching you a lesson that tends to be something that is commonsensical. It feels, what are the words that I used here? I didn't find them to be particularly profound, but that might just be because they were told to me directly. Again, the quote is, "The direct path is almost never the best path." And that's the way that I look at these messages through my reading too. I know a lot of people love this book, and hopefully through my review, you see that I have respect for it as well, and that I believe that the four agreements are important for everyone, but I don't recommend the book because I'm looking for something that's a little bit more complex and profound in the way that those lessons are delivered. It comes off a little bit more like a coffee table book, or maybe it's a coffee shop book. It's a book that you pick up at the coffee shop to read the list of the four agreements and nod your head and say, yes, I am in agreement with them as well. Which, in saying that now, feels cheesy, but it probably is appropriate for the way that I feel about this book. I may get a lot of difficult comments, maybe some flames here in the people that love this book and think that it is very important. Just remember, I believe it's important too. I just was not happy with the execution. This is The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. I gave it 2 out of 5 stars when I read it in 2019.